Welcome to Royal Telly. I'm your host, Chloe. Today, we delve into a story that has been the talk of the town since December 2023. The story revolves around a certain sudden hospital visit that has stirred a whirlwind of speculation and controversy. The individual at the center of this narrative is none other than Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge. Now, the specifics surrounding this unexpected medical emergency are shrouded in mystery. Rumors of a facial injury swirled, but the official story that was hurriedly put together was that of a cancer diagnosis. A narrative of vulnerability was quickly spun around Catherine, with tales of her health struggles dominating the headlines. The aim? To garner sympathy and deflect criticism. This calculated strategy to control the public narrative is deeply concerning. It's a story we've been fed consistently, with Catherine being portrayed as vulnerable and struggling behind closed doors. This portrayal, while eliciting sympathy, conveniently shields her from any scrutiny. The use of a serious illness like cancer for such purposes is not just manipulative, it's downright cynical. The plot thickens when we consider the circumstances leading up to the mysterious hospital visit. Many have pointed out that the longer the truth, what many speculate was a facial injury, had to be concealed, the more desperate the need for a believable cover story. And what's more bulletproof than a cancer diagnosis? It's a tragedy that no one is allowed to question this without being labeled insensitive. However, the narrative seems to be crumbling under its own weight. The Duchess, we are told, is battling cancer-related lethargy, a crippling chronic fatigue that is brutal for anyone undergoing treatment. Yet we also hear of her numerous vacations throughout the year, including a recent ski trip. Skiing while recovering from cancer? It's not just far-fetched, it's downright insulting to anyone who has had to endure the grueling process of cancer treatment. As we peel back the layers of this story, the narrative seems to be falling apart. Now we come to the more controversial part of this narrative. Imagine someone supposedly battling cancer-related lethargy, a debilitating fatigue that can leave even the strongest individuals bedridden. Now envision this same person enjoying multiple vacations throughout the year, including a recent ski trip to the Alps. Does that seem plausible? This is the contradictory narrative we are being sold by Kensington Palace about Catherine. We are told of her struggles, of her battle with this life-altering disease. Yet her actions seem to tell a different story. This tale of a cancer-stricken duchess somehow finding the energy to go on lavish vacations and even ski raises many questions. For those who have witnessed the harsh reality of cancer and its treatments, this narrative is not just unbelievable, it's downright insensitive. It's an affront to every individual who has suffered through this disease, to those who are struggling with debilitating fatigue right now. It trivializes their experiences, their battles, their pain. Moreover, it's a slap in the face for those who don't have the luxury of a PR team to craft a sympathetic image or the means to escape to exotic locations for a break. It's a tale that seems to exploit a serious illness for image control, using it as a shield against scrutiny and criticism. And let's not forget the stark contrast in the way Meghan was treated during her pregnancies. She faced relentless criticism and scrutiny, with every action and choice turned into a reason for attack. Yet Catherine's narrative seems to be immune to the same level of scrutiny or criticism, shielded by a story that appears to be full of contradictions. So what are we left with? A narrative that doesn't add up, a story that seems to exploit a serious illness for sympathy, and a stark contrast in the treatment of two duchesses. The contradictions in this narrative are baffling, to say the least. It's time to examine the stark contrast in the treatment meted out to different royals. Let's cast our minds back to Meghan's pregnancies. There was no grace period, no sympathy, not even a moment's respite for her to simply exist. She was under the microscope, every move scrutinized to an almost ludicrous extent. Remember how her cradling her bump was turned into a media circus? Or how her fashion choices became fodder for endless criticism? And this wasn't just idle chatter. This was a relentless, savage campaign that took an enormous toll on her mental and emotional health. Meghan was hounded, attacked, and dissected at every turn, simply for being pregnant and, dare I say, human. Now let's compare this to the situation with Catherine. Here we have a narrative that is rife with contradictions and inconsistencies, yet it's swallowed wholesale. We're told she's suffering from a serious illness, yet she's apparently well enough to be gallivanting on ski trips. This narrative, despite its glaring holes, is used to shield her from scrutiny and criticism. Where is the relentless questioning? Where are the probing investigations into these inconsistencies? Why is there such a glaring double standard when it comes to these two women? The hypocrisy is infuriating. It's a stark example of the disparity in how these two ladies are treated. One is vilified for the smallest of actions, while the other is protected and coddled despite a narrative that seems to crumble under the slightest scrutiny. And the worst part? This double standard is not just unfair. It's harmful. It's damaging to the mental and emotional health of the individuals involved, and it sends a terrible message to the public. It tells us that some people are more deserving of sympathy and protection than others, that some narratives are more valid, more worthy of belief despite glaring inconsistencies. The disparity in the treatment of these two ladies is truly alarming. As we delve deeper, we uncover a disturbing trend in the royal family's PR strategies. It's an unsettling revelation, one that's been lurking in the shadows of the palace corridors. It's the possibility of using a serious illness, cancer, as a public relations tool, an instrument to garner sympathy, and a shield to silence critics. This is more than just a simple PR trick. It's a calculated, cynical maneuver that manipulates the emotions of the public. It's a strategy that's designed to control the narrative, to deflect criticism, and to create a protective bubble around the person in question. But let's be clear about one thing. The use of a serious illness like cancer as a PR tool is not just manipulative, it's downright unacceptable. It's disrespectful to the millions of people who are battling this life-altering disease every single day. It trivializes their struggle, their pain, and their courage. And what's even more troubling is the audacity of this ploy. It's not just about using a serious illness as a shield. It's about using it as a weapon to silence critics, to shut down dissent, and to manipulate public opinion. This isn't just a PR strategy, it's a deception, a charade, a facade. It's a cleverly crafted illusion designed to fool the public and to protect the person behind it. But the truth has a way of surfacing. And as the layers of deception peel away, the true face of this PR ploy is exposed. It's a face of hypocrisy, of manipulation, and of deceit. And as this face is revealed, we are left with a disturbing question. How low will the royal family's PR machine stoop to protect its own? The use of such a grave matter for PR gain is a new low for Kensington Palace. In conclusion, what we've uncovered today is deeply troubling. The intricate web of manipulation, hypocrisy, and public relations tactics spun by Kensington Palace is nothing short of disheartening. Today, we've taken a deep dive into the narrative surrounding Catherine's health condition, a narrative that, upon closer inspection, is riddled with inconsistencies. We've seen how her supposed health struggles have been used to create an image of vulnerability, a shield to protect her from scrutiny and criticism. We've discussed the disturbing implications of using a serious illness like cancer as a smokescreen, a tactic that not only distorts the truth but also dishonors those truly battling this life-altering disease. We've also highlighted the striking contrast in how Meghan's pregnancies were treated by the media and the public compared to Catherine's current situation. The lack of grace, sympathy, and space offered to Meghan during her pregnancies starkly contrasts with the protective bubble that surrounds Catherine now. This is not about picking sides or stirring up drama. This is about demanding transparency and fairness. It's about questioning the narratives that are being fed to us and refusing to accept them at face value. We need to be critical consumers of information, always vigilant, and never stop asking questions. It's important to remember that behind the glossy headlines and polished public images, these are real people dealing with real issues. It's equally important, however, to hold those in power accountable for their actions and their narratives. So let's continue to question, to demand transparency, and to strive for fairness. Let's not allow ourselves to be manipulated or gaslighted by those who wield their power and influence irresponsibly. Thank you for joining us today on Royal Telly. I'm Chloe, and it's been a pleasure hosting you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Until next time, stay vigilant and keep questioning.